Hello dear students, welcome to the Bajirao IAS Academy. Today is 25th of October and we are going to discuss the daily Hindu newspaper analysis. So today we have to look into the two articles, okay, and these two articles are very important, and we try to compile some of the data from other sources as well, because the topic politicization of the bureaucracy, the article is very short, but we try to compile in a detailed way. Like here we will be understanding about its basic, and along with that we will be trying to understand about the causes, the impact, and what needs to be done, so that your topic related to these will be prepared in a short and crispy manner. Okay, so the second article will be related to mitigating the tragedies in the Himalayan region, basically the recent incident that we have seen in the Sikkim, okay, specifically glacier lake outburst. So why this happened, and do this is the result of man-made factor, and also why there is a difficulty in addressing the early warning system here. Okay, so we will be understanding in this manner. Okay, you will be enjoying this article, and let us start our discussion. But before that, if you haven't subscribed our channel, please do subscribe, like, share, and comment as well. And you should understand that the discussion should be participatory in nature. Try to get involved in the discussion, and when we try to tell you this, that means whatever questions I want to ask you, you should answer, so that your thinking power should expand, and you should answer, and definitely it will help not only you but your peer members that will see the comment as well. So try to engage, try to comment, and try to solve the questions. Okay, so basically before starting up the discussion, we have a warm-up session, and the question will be from the previous year paper for the prelims and the mains as well. So for the prelims, you have to attempt the question, and it is related to the history section. So the question is basically, who among the following rulers of Vijayanagar Empire constructed a large dam across Tungabhadra river and canal cum aqueduct several kilometers long from the river to the capital city? So looking at the question, you may be a little bit confusing what the question has been asked, but you can answer this question in a simple manner if you know about the Tungabhadra river, okay, the Hampi city, okay, and for Hampi, for the control over the region, we have an important ruler among the Vijayanagara ruler. Okay, so who is that ruler? They basically constructed a large dam across the Tungabhadra river. Okay, so your option is Devrai 1, option B Mallikarjun, option C Veera Vijaya, and option D Virupaksha. So tell me the important ruler of Vijayanagar Empire. Yes, you got it right. Devrai 1. Within this ruler, okay, they initiated various projects for the welfare of the people. Okay, and with respect to the Vijayanagar Empire, kindly do note that UPSC do ask the question from this dynasty or the empire. And tell me one more answer. Basically, who is the founder of Vijayanagar Empire? Okay, and some other important rulers. Chronology of the dynasty of the Vijayanagar Empire, like Saluba, Tuluba. Okay, these all are basically dynasty that basically chronologically came into the Papa, and their capital, their symbol. Try to learn from these angles, so that your preparation should be in a holistic way. Okay, and if you know the contribution, the developments done by various important rulers, not all the rulers but important rulers, then definitely you will be on a upper age to solve these type of questions. Okay, so try to understand all of that, and this will help you in your preparation as well. So tell me which is the answer here. Yes, it is Dev Rai 1. Although I do provide the answer in the last session of the discussion, but here I provided you this now. Okay. So now after the prelims discussion, we should have a question over the UPSC mains. So basically when we talk about questions for the UPSC mains, it is related to the Indian diaspora. And Indian diaspora actually is a topic and that actually asks about every year. On average, you can see that every year the question on Indian diaspora is there. So basically, the question is Indian diaspora has scaled new heights in the West. Okay, describe its economic and political benefits for India. So here they are asking that Indian diaspora is basically presenting itself in the developed country, in the European countries, like in America we have the Indian diaspora, and in the European countries like UK, okay, like France we do have Indian diaspora, and they are contributing uh, to their economy. Okay, but here you have to analyze with respect to the benefit that India get. For example, when we talk about political benefit, then it means that if any agenda that runs in the Western countries against India, then we have an upper edge that we can try to control the anti-Indian sentiments by utilizing the soft power of India. So Indian diaspora is basically, you can say, the soft power, and with this soft power we try to control the hard politics that runs in the global world, that runs in the Western nation. So try to understand from these angles, this will benefit you. Okay, and also when we talk about economic benefits India is getting, so we have a remittances, we have the investments, we have the travel and tourism. Okay, so these various aspects you can understand. There are many more benefits, like it helps in removing the poverty. Social benefits is also there. Okay, economic benefit we talked, and also technological innovation, because the students, the person that goes there to study and then comes, they try to apply new idea, technology, innovations, and then our Indian economy gets promoted. Okay, the efficiency of the companies gets promoted. So definitely there are varieties of significance that Indian diaspora plays in the economy of India, in the polity of India. Okay, in the social angle of India. So you can understand the role of Indian diaspora from these perspective. So also you try to quote some of the points, okay, from your side, so that your points should also integrate in the comment section, and we will see that whether you are presenting your points or not. It will be a very good way to interact with you. Okay, so that is the point. And now let us move to our discussion paper, and the first article will be related to GS paper 2, and here you should understand about the politicization of bureaucracy. So bureaucracy basically, you like the Indian civil services, like when we talk about bureaucracy, although they are a part of executive, but they are mostly the officials, they are mostly permanent employees under the government. Okay, and they enjoy various benefits, but there is one important characteristics that a bureaucracy should have, and you study in the ethics as well. What is the important characteristics? That is the impartiality, that is the neutrality. Okay, but there is a tussle of breaching the impartiality if there is increasing the presence of government, the political party, the influence of their power into the bureaucracy. Okay, so that means if there is a influence of the political party or government in power into the domain of bureaucracy, that means the bureaucracy is getting politicized. Okay, so politicization of bureaucracy, in simple terms, it refers to increasing influence of the political party and the politician who are in power, or who may not be in power, but indirectly they are trying to influence the bureaucracy. Okay, and that affects the functioning of the civil services. And remember, our entire nation is dependent on the bureaucracy for the well functioning of our country, for the economy, for the polity, for the society. That is the significance of our bureaucracy. And if there is a breach in impartiality, that means it may directly affect the democracy. Okay, so that is the main point you should understand. And how there can be the politicization of bureaucracy. So there can be the various way, like appointing the government officials based on the loyalty. Like if you are like nearer to any political party ideology, that means you may get promoted in their respective period of government. Okay, so that is the point. And also there is a pressure to implement policy which even against the public interest. Sometimes we see about the farm loan waiver. Sometimes we see like schemes which may benefit the political party in power, but that may not benefit the people, general people. So these are the incidents, along with the transfer or promotion based on loyalty. If you are loyal, that means there can be the faster transfer or the promotion. If you are disloyal, if you are neutral, there may be a chances that you can basically be engaged in the charges of corruption or the other problems. Okay, and along with the growing interference by the political leaders in the day-to-day administration functioning of the bureaucracy, like the appointments, okay, like the decision to take on a matter. Okay, so these all are the examples you can see. And when we talk about the recent example, actually the recent example was taken in this article as well. So here the article says the government is organizing Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra from November 20 to 25th January 2024. Okay, so basically this yatra to showcase the government's achievement in the last 9 years. But here, apart from the political party and the representatives that are participating in these yatra to showcase the government achievement, but here we are seeing that even the departments, the officials of these departments are getting deployed at the village level, okay, to promote the government achievement. So when these officials will be deployed here, that means their normal functioning of their administrative work may get affected. Okay, so bureaucracy and the officials have definite functions to perform. Okay, and if these persons are getting deployed for the showcasing of government's achievement, that means the day-to-day administration or the business will be affected, and indirectly it will be affecting the people's right. Okay, because maybe the officials have the responsibility to sign a document, okay, to sign a like proposal for opening of the businesses for various people. But let's say the government official is engaged in these activities, that means there may be a delay in clearing up the files or the forms or many other events that may be arised. Okay, so that is the point. And government is also trying to make the 822 selfie points and where the pictures can be taken. Okay, so basically the article says that it can damage the credibility of our election process. And how? It is basically because our democracy is protected by bureaucratic impartiality, that I wanted to say. Okay, remember this keyword bureaucratic impartiality. The principal thought of bureaucracy or the bureaucratic system in India is basically based on the bureaucratic impartiality. But if this impartiality is getting breached, that means the credibility of our election process may also going to suffer. Okay, so how this is affecting the democracy? Just try to think how. Okay, it will enable you to think in a more deeper way how they are impacting. Okay, so that is the point. And when we talk about the separation of power, okay, So basically, our constitution do provides for separation of power between judiciary, executive, and legislature. Okay, and you see that in the DPSP there is also mention of the separation of executive from judiciary. Okay, as well as we have other articles that talks about separation of the legislative discussions in the parliament from the discussions of the judicial proceedings. Okay, these are the articles that talks about the separation. But our constitution also emphasizes that there should be separation of power between executive, judiciary, and legislature. Apart from that, it also talks about separation of bureaucracy and military from political executive to prevent the partition politics. It is not partition politics, it is basically partition politics. Okay, so in simple terms, you can also remember it biased politics. Okay, and because of that, the politicization of the bureaucracy may get promoted. So the constitution talks about the separation of power, the separation of bureaucracy and military. Okay, but now we are seeing that these thin line are getting basically filled up, and it can affect our bureaucratic neutrality. Okay, so when we talk about these issues in detail, so what are the causes of the politicization of the bureaucracy? So actually, power concentration, lack of institutional accountability. Okay, and the money and muscle power. With the money and muscle power, the government try to affect the bureaucrats, the officials. Okay, so remember that the issue of corruption. Okay, why there is a issue of corruption? Because there is the influence of money and muscle power, and from money we can influence the people. Okay, and to have a political neutrality, to have a bureaucratic neutrality, a person needs to be highly morally standard. Okay, so that is the point. And when we talk about the impact, you can understand the impact of these politicization, that it can cause political paralysis. How it can cause? Suppose we have a government, take an example, it is for example only. Congress, during the Congress era, basically many policies was initiated. Okay, but when the BJP, when the present government came to the power, actually maybe the present government did not like the past government's policy, so they may change the policy. Okay, they may defer the name of the policy. There can be many things, and this can also be true if the next government may come. So that can cause the policy paralysis, and ultimately the civilians, the populations will be getting affected. Along with, there may be the issue of corruption, there may be the issue of nepotism. Okay, and there can be the issue of it is not favorability, it is basically favoritism. Okay, favoritism. And where can have the inefficiency, because these all will promote inefficiency, because we are not able to do justice with our officials. Okay, and this will impart inefficiency, and inefficiency always try to basically hinders the development and the progress of a nation. Okay, and that will also promote the lack of public trust. Okay, and if trust is disturbed, that means it will affect the whole democracy. And along with, the bureaucrats or the officials will not able to make the dependent decision, will not able to make the independent decision, and because of that, the interest of the people, the interest of the common people will be undermined in the name of interest of the political parties in power. Okay, so that is the point, and that is the end of the article. What do you think? Okay, give me some other points about the causes of the politicization, and tell me the solution. Try to find out the solution, how we can curb the politicization of bureaucracy. Okay, first of all, you will write that there should be a separation of the bureaucratic officials from the political interference. Okay, so you can suggest, tell me other suggestions as well. So after discussion of the article 1, now we are shifting to article 2. That is also very important article from the environmental point of view. And why I try to take these articles on a frequent times, because the trend shows that UPSC is focusing on these dynamic concepts. Now the era of a static concept has been ended. The era of static plus dynamic is actually increasing, so you have to adopt in that way. And that's why I analyzed the prelims paper, and if you hadn't watched that, please do watch and understand how the dynamicity is increasing, not only in the polity, but also in the environment section, in the science and technology, as well as in the economic section. So dynamic parts are increasing, and aesthetic parts are also there, but dynamicity is increasing. That's why it is making the paper difficult. However, there are other like regions for the difficulty of the paper, but there is also one reason that dynamicity of the paper is increasing. You may not predict that what type of question on which pattern they may ask, but you should prepare in a right way. You should adopt the dynamicity approach whenever you read the news paper. Try to understand, like we are discussing this article, okay? So in this article there may be the glacial lake outburst. So maybe in your static book or the reference book this concept is not given, but from these articles try to explore what do you mean by glacial lake outburst, what is its impact, what solution can be there, okay? And you can understand that UPSC did ask the question about it on the mains paper. So these are the dynamic part, okay? And you have to handle it by decoding the content, okay? So that is the point. Now let's move to the topic first. So when we talk about the glacial lake outburst, first of all, you know that in Sikkim there was many incident of glacial lake outburst, and because of that the flash flood occurred. So what I want to tell you that the flash flood is actually an outcome, a result, okay? But it has the chain of cows linked to it. What is the chain of cows? The chain of cows is like, first of all, heavy rainfall was there, okay? These heavy rainfall caused landslide, and because of the landslide this propelled the glacial lake to disturb, and because of the disturbances the channel basically got opened up, and because of that you can see that the water is actually started flowing, and because of that this water entered into the river Tista, okay? And the volume of water suddenly increased, and the villages which were located here started to suffer the flash flood. And you can see in terms of infrastructure, in terms of loss of the life, in terms of loss of the people, we are seeing in the Sikkim region. And this is not the single incident that we are talking about. Actually in the Uttarakhand, you know the devastation it caused, okay, in like 4 5 years ago. Along with these incidents are also very common in Himachal Pradesh as well. So these are the tragedies which we are seeing, and scientists are warning that these incidents is basically increasing in number, and one important reason is the climate change and the resulted global warming, the rise in temperature, because these are very sensitive region, okay? And the impact of climate do have a major impact on it, okay? So that is the point. So we have seen that glacial lake outburst in Sikkim, and they caused a flash flood. And when we talk about some important data which you can quote it, okay, 90 million people across 30 nations live in 1089 basin containing the glacial lake, okay? So the number of people which lives around these region, they are very high. So if there is glacial lake outburst, that means these all people is going to get impacted, okay? And even what about 1/6 of them lives within the 50 kilometer of range. Suppose this is the glacial lake outburst and this is the 50 kilometer range. So the people are residing here. Okay, so that means the when there can be a chances of glacial lake outburst, these people will be going to affect very severely. Okay, so that means we need to have a mechanism to deal with that. But what is the mechanism? How can we identify that there can be the chances of glacial lake outburst? So use of technology here. Okay, use of technology which includes early warning system. But sometimes our early warning system also get failed. Why? Because the sensors maybe didn't work because of the temperature variation, because of the functional error, technical error. Okay, so that is the point. So we need to strengthen our early warning system. That is the point. Okay, so why we are not able to prevent it? It is basically challenges in providing an early warning system. Remember the terrain of the Himalayan region system. Okay, when we talk about the terrain, there are very much difficulty in walking there, living there. So how we can basically put the infrastructure around these glacial lakes to monitor the changes, to monitor the events? So that becomes one challenge. And the second one is the climate and the altitude. The climate is so harsh there. Okay, and the colder winds that flow there, the ice that are surrounded here and there because of the higher altitude. So these are the challenges that basically prevents the surveillance infrastructure there. Okay, and another challenge is like your climate change. Okay, and because of climate change we are seeing the increased temperature, and the data which was analyzed in these regions where the flash flood was occurred, the data indicates that the region was about 0 to 5 degrees Celsius higher temperature than the normal temperature. That means these region was also facing the brunt of the climate change. Okay, and apart from this Himalayan region, the Indian Himalayan region, they faces various other issues like we have discussed in the previous article. Okay, like hydrological issue, meteorological issue, tectonic issue like the earthquakes are common there, climatic hurdles, and the human induced hazard. That's why Supreme Court directions was that measure the carrying capacity of the Indian Himalayan region. So you can link the article from one article to the another article to get overall idea what is the problems. Okay, what the government is doing. So basically when we talk about the government's effort, so you can understand that the Supreme Court and the government is trying to measure the carrying capacity, and they directed the state to work upon this, and for that there was various constitution of committee and the members and the technical institutes. Okay, they are participating. So that is the point. And if you talk about the number of lakes, so you can say that about 28,000 glacial lakes are there as per the National Remote Sensing Center glacial lake atlas. Okay, atlas talks about basically the map and number of the glacial lake, about 28,000. It is basically very much risky to implement every location the early warning system. That's why this becomes challenging. And remember the tough terrain, the climate, the harsh climate. Okay, and there is also the risks. Let's say if a government tried to initiate some effort like building the barriers surrounding the glacial lake, so there may be chances that even the glacial lake can get outbursted because of some human error. Okay, because of some vibrational issue. So that can also be the scenario. And when we talk about in India, we have 27% of these lakes. Okay, from 28,000 we have 27% of these lakes in India. Okay, so that means the challenges are very big. Okay, so what is the solution? So there are solution. First of all, we will discuss the traditional solution, like you can execute channels drainage, like this is the glacial lake. Okay, try to manually create the channel drainage so that the water from this lake gets diverted slowly. Okay, and this lake gets empty, so that in future if there are any disturbances, but this cannot damage the surrounding region or did not cause the flash flood. Okay, And along with a spillover construction, like this is the lake surrounding, we can create barriers so that if there is a disturbances, the water should not damage or create flash flood. And we can have a small catchment dams so that if there is a flash flood incident, so water in these small dams get stored, and that should not damage the area in the larger respect. Apart from that, the National Disaster Management Authority, which is the central level agency that deals with the disaster, okay, and you should read about NDMA, okay, you should read about NDMA, who chairs it, okay, what is the composition, what is the function, and whom do we call disaster. So these angles should be explored. So when we talk about NDMA, they are also installing solar powered automated cameras, okay, that can automatically capture the images and monitor the size, strength, volume of the lake, okay. And they had put it in the Sikkim glacier as an experiment basis. And what is the name of the glacier? That is the South Lohanak and Sakocho. Remember, for the prelims, maybe UPSC can ask like recently South Lohanak and Sakocho was the news. What is that? क्या ये glacier lake है, or whether it is basically the excavation site, whether it is basically the ancient ports, they can ask. So try to remember that, okay. And apart from these approach, there is a need to have a multidisciplinary approach where there is a need that we should integrate our departments, institutes, ministry with the institutions of the private. The resources should be better utilized, okay. And we can use this National Remote Sensing Center Atlas for monitoring the change in the glacier lake, okay. And also we have the National Disaster Management Guidelines of 2020 that talks about risk zonation. When we talk about risk zonation, what do you mean by it? So risk zonation, like if you have a landmass, okay, suppose let's take here, okay. First of all, let's clear that. This will help you to understand. Let's clear all of that, okay. Suppose this is a landmass and we divide them into 4 parts, and suppose this region A, B, C, D. Suppose the region A is less prone to disaster, okay, there is a stability here, but in area B the stability decreases, in area C the stability further decreases, and in area D the instability is very much higher. So tell me, where should be the plan and resources diverted most? Yes, you are right, it is in the area D. Why? Because these are very much disaster prone, okay. So the resources, the human capital should be invested here, okay, to prevent the disaster, rather than we are investing in an equitable way like in the A, B, C, D equally. So that will be not a good idea. So that comes the idea of risk zonation. You should demarcate where the risk is very much higher, and based on that put your resources there, so that the utilization of resource in the best manner, in an efficient manner, and there will be the protection as well in a good manner. So that is the point. And ultimately there is a need to have a glacier lake outburst flood risk mitigation plan, okay. So other suggestions was like collaboration among stakeholders are needed, like the government departments and the institutions, so that the resources which we are investing to deal with that and the capacity needs to be developed should be work in tandem, in together way, in the disaster risk reduction, okay. And along with meeting the developmental needs, disaster and climate resilience principle needs to be adopted. We should not focus only on the development. Yes, development is necessary for the welfare of the people, for welfare of the citizen, for removing poverty, for removing hunger, and for providing jobs. But apart from that, we need to balance the development and the environment. If we go against the environment, development will have no meaning. But if we work in tandem, if we work together with the environment, okay, that means our development will be ensured also in terms of protection as well. Okay, so we should focus on disaster and climate resilience as well. Suppose there can be any disaster, so it should be resilient, that we can able to adopt that disturbances. So adoption is needed, resilience is needed. Resilience is what? Basically enhancing the capacity. Suppose you fear from something, but I motivate you, like I provide you something creative, and from that your fear goes out. That means you are becoming resilient. Okay, so resilience means enhancing your capacity by changing or modifying yourself. Okay, that is the point. And we have discussed all these article, hope you understood. And thanks friends, this is the end of the article. And now this is the end of the article. We will be discussing the next issue in the coming days. So thank you very much. Have a nice day.